I never believed in monsters, until one kissed me under a blood moon. It was the kind of night where the sky hung heavy with secrets. Autumn wind rustled through the skeletal trees as Rose Callahan walked alone down the winding path of Raven's Hollow, the small New England town she had moved to just 6 months ago. She had come here for peace after her mother's passing, a quiet place to grieve and restart. But what she found was something she could never have imagined. Her nights were often filled with dreams. Vivid, wild dreams of eyes like embers, whispers in the dark, and arms that wrapped around her like shadows. It started the week she moved into the old stone cottage at the edge of the woods, once owned by a man named Lucien Graves. Locals warned her that the place was cursed. That Lucien disappeared over a century ago and was never found. She dismissed the stories as superstition. Until the night he returned. Chapter 1: The Awakening. It was the eve of the blood moon. Rose had been struggling, jobless, alone, drowning in the weight of her grief. That night, she lit a candle and wandered into the garden, trying to find some peace in the moonlight. The air was strange, too still. Then came the whisper, low, velvet smooth, not spoken but felt in the bones. "You shouldn't be here tonight, Rose." She turned, startled. And there he stood. Lucien. Tall, ageless, skin pale as moonlight, with eyes the color of burning coal. She should have run, but something in his gaze held her. It wasn't hunger. It was sorrow. Deep, aching sorrow that mirrored her own. "I know you," she whispered, not knowing why. He nodded. "And I know you. I've watched you dream." Chapter 2: The Curse and the Connection. Lucien was a vampire, cursed by love and blood. In 1823, he had been in love with a human woman, Amara, who betrayed him to a vampire hunter to save herself. The betrayal cursed him not just with immortality, but with an eternal thirst for love he could never safely give. Every woman he loved aged and died, or was destroyed by his enemies. Since then, he had isolated himself, until Rose's presence stirred something in him. Their connection grew quickly. Lucien showed Rose his world, silent, hidden, hauntingly beautiful. They would talk for hours under the moonlight. She told him about her mother, her loneliness, her fear of never being enough. He listened, not to respond, but to understand. But the closer they became, the more dangerous things grew. Chapter 3: The Hunter Returns. A vampire hunter named Elias Creed arrived in Raven's Hollow. Tall, rugged, and ruthless, he had one mission: eliminate Lucien Graves. Elias was once Amara's descendant, and he saw Rose as another naive woman being seduced into darkness. He warned her. Threatened her. Offered her a choice: help him destroy Lucien, or be branded a traitor to humanity. Torn between love and loyalty to the living world, Rose faced her greatest challenge. She had fallen in love with a vampire, but could she protect him and herself? Lucien, sensing the danger, begged her to leave. "You deserve a life, Rose. A real life. Not shadows. Not this." But Rose had made her choice. "You're the only thing that makes me feel alive." Chapter 4: Blood and Fire. The final confrontation came during the next blood moon. Elias ambushed them in the ruins of an old church, sacred ground. A brutal battle broke out. Rose screamed as Lucien was stabbed through the chest with a silver dagger. Elias turned on her, blade raised, until Rose stepped in front of Lucien and shouted, "If you kill him, you'll kill the only good thing left in this cursed world." Her words pierced more than Elias's heart. They echoed with truth. Elias hesitated, trembling. He saw the love between them, raw and undeniable, and something in him broke. He dropped the blade. Lucien lived. Barely. Rose's tears fell into his wound. And in that moment of pain, sacrifice, and true love, the curse was lifted. Chapter 5: A Mortal Choice. Lucien woke days later, heart beating for the first time in 2 centuries. Human again. The curse broken by love freely given, not stolen or seduced. But the cost was high. He was no longer immortal. Time would now steal him from Rose. Decades, not centuries. A mortal life. A mortal love. He looked at her, eyes full of awe. I would rather have one lifetime with you than an eternity without, he said. Epilogue: The Vampire's Embrace. Years passed. Rose and Lucien grew old together in the same cottage where it all began. They traveled. They laughed. They cried. He painted. She wrote. And when their time came, they faced it hand in hand. In Raven's Hollow, the townspeople still whisper about the strange love story of the girl and the vampire who chose to be human for love. But if you ever visit the woods on a quiet autumn night, you may feel warmth in the air and hear a voice on the wind. Some monsters are just people who love too deeply.